of it. I was careful not to use that because most who can afford it are really not feeling the brunt of it. But if you're not feeling the brunt of it, you're spending beyond what you had earlier.
At least he can actually do, if he really wants to do something, just to provide palliatives and then give maybe buses for students to take to school and just to help them in that aspect. But to say he can bring down fuel price, I am sorry. He can't do it.
There are governors and the governments generally have put in place certain palliative measures.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, they've provided means of transportation. Some have even reduced the number of work days. So instead of 5 days, you go to work 3 days and you have the other 2 days to cushion the effect of this. Some have even made provisions for certain palliatives in kind for these people. But beyond that, if we think that the Edo State government, yes, he might not be able to do much, but let's take our minds back to the era of Naira redesign. We had a group of governors rise up to the occasion. Now they felt Nigerians were suffering. Nigerians were going through difficult times. I mean, you have money, you can't access your money, and even when you find a way of accessing it, there is
achieve more results than them just shouting on their governors here to do something. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that them protesting is a bad thing. Of course, it's good. At least
like I said, during the Naira redesign, 10 governors had taken the president to court and the CBN. I'm trying to quell that whole cash drama that we had during that era. Don't you think? Now, their own argument was that Nigerians were suffering. Is the suffering now too small that our governors cannot rise up to the occasion to say, we want to hold the federal government to ransom, put these things in place ASAP so that Nigerians can live better lives, just like they did in the other time?
There is something that I've been waiting to hear, that I've been contemplating, I've been pondering. Other states are actually privileged for their governor to come out and say, oh, this thing is too much, we're going to provide it. But I've not seen anyone say, president, as in holding. Do you understand what I mean?
Naira redesign era, that was how the protest started. It started from one quarter, and then the next minute it was like it snowballed into regional stuffs, and then people today they were here, and the next day they were here, and a whole lot.
You have money, but you're not even seeing it to buy something. It's quite different from now. At least now you have money and you're spending it.
Oh, so you're saying the situation,
no,
the suffering here now is not as worse as it was then?
No, you can't compare, because that time you can't even get 5 naira to go to where you want. It was a problem.
Really?
But now at least they have the money, just that money that you have budgeted for something else, you are putting it in the things that you never budgeted for, as in you're spending more. So that's why you see people are not really standing up, as in different states are not protesting and all that. But you see that during Naira redesign time, it was bad.
It was really bad.
It was bad.
It's not healthy. They might even come back injured or something. They might come back even sick, because if you do not have a proper toilet, I wonder how school children are going to cope. So if I send them there, they might come back in worse situations. So I'd better send them to the farm. They would be productive there. I feel like crying, really.
It's so painful. Now, this is why parents will, some parents will continue. The governments go back to the drawing board and know that education is very, very important. How will you feel you send your child to school and then the person comes back, the child comes back with a very worse situation that you can't even tell, and you're managing to survive, you're using the money to train them. I mean, uniform should be free. Even they should have a kind of settings that even their lunch should be free. This is government school we are talking about, government children.
Now, if you say government should take education seriously, then I don't know how to put that, but I think the government so far has, with information they have given to us,
in that administrative working, because you know, sometimes when I used to tell people, I said, people are saying the president is not doing anything. Most time he might actually release this fund to do this thing, but it's not getting to the right destination, because we have people cornering the money. We have people using it for their own myself my family, for their own selfish interest. They're not actually putting it in what they are supposed to do. So when I'm talking about government, when the money is released, allow it to go to where it's supposed to go to, because most of these people, if you see, their children are outside country, they're in private schools, they're having a better life, and you see the farmers that are struggling to make sure that at least the reason why you have people working with you is because you cannot carry out some certain responsibilities. That is why you bring people together, commissioner of this, commissioner of that, commissioner of that, so that where your hand cannot reach, your own is to do the necessary, and then you have people working with you. The governor have a lot that he's doing that he can't possibly, but I know once in a while, once in a while,
the Ministry of Education gets this. Now there are people who bid for this contract. You award them the contracts, you give them the money, you mobilize them for the job. It is your responsibility in that ministry. I'm not asking the governor to do that. I'm not asking Mr. President to do that. Of course, it's impossible. But it is on the ministry that is saddled with that responsibility to assign somebody. Today, nobody's going to announce it.
Okay.
Go to this particular school in this area. We assign you here, assign you there. See things for yourself. Ask the children questions. I think that is the best way to go.
Honestly, that's a nice idea. And I think really, I think they should implement that.
And attention should be paid more on the schools in rural communities. I think they are the ones who, I'm not going to say they are disadvantaged, but they are the ones who feel the brunt of failures in the system. They are the ones who feel it when things are not done rightly. So attention should be paid to those people. These are Nigerians. These are the leaders of tomorrow. Get this. Do know that you owe Nigerians a responsibility to deliver on the assignment that has been given to you. We'll go on a very short break and we will be right back. Welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. And our next issue is on subsidy removal. The Trade Union Congress has urged the federal government to fast-track work on palliatives for Nigerian workers to cushion the economic effects of subsidy removal. President of the TUC, Festus Osifo, who briefed reporters on Monday in Abuja, noted that the federal government could not afford to speak grammar, even at night or weekends, to ensure that the government fast-track these processes, because the plight of the Nigerian workers is our main concern. Anything that affects the Nigerian worker is what we will strive to correct. Recently, there was an uproar because the National Assembly wanted to purchase vehicles worth 40 billion naira and they earmarked 70 billion naira to be shared. They said it is about their work the condition of work. If you go to some ministries today, people are working without light. In some parastatals today, the toilets are not working. We have some offices where civil servants buy chairs with their money and take them to their offices to work. The executive, legislature, and judiciary must lead from the front while we follow them from behind as the followers. But in a situation where they push a lot of poverty to the masses and they are living in affluence, we will not allow that to work. If the National Assembly cannot give a clear-cut justification on what they think they are doing, we will lead the entire Nigerian masses to besiege the National Assembly. We raise that red flag and thank God that they have listened. We know that 8,000 naira is nothing. Even if the government said it wants data be verified, the TUC leader asked. Well, before we talk about the data and all of that, let's talk about the palliatives. The president has said 8,000 naira for 12 million families to cushion the effect of the subsidies, and Nigerians raised eyebrows. I mean, what is 8,000 naira going to afford right now? Like, how many liters of petrol is that exactly in the country, given the current price of over 600 naira? And the president thought about it. Well, the opera and the outcry. Well, let's review. The presidency, together with the presidential steering committee, have been.
It's not about talking about sense. Implement this thing, let's see. It's almost going to, I think it's 2 months plus now. We have been reading a lot of promises, we have been hearing a lot of promises and all that, but we have not really seen something being implemented yet. That is what we want to see. We don't want to hear English, we don't want to hear grammar. Even if it means to use your own language and do the right thing, do it. We are tired of grammar. I mean,
now, talking about the data, how to get it, that is a very difficult question, because as it stands right now, even the National Social Register that was put together by the past administration has been regarded as a fraud. I mean, there is no legal and even moral justification for the contents of that social register. It is more like, how did we come about with all of this? You know, the information in there are unverifiable, and so this administration is saying we can't even use the National Social Register. So it means we probably would have to start afresh. How long?
Just try, because you know we have a lot of families that this will go to. I mean, it's not, we are not talking about 50 families here, so they can't afford to do things carelessly. At the end of the day, they will now blame it on the federal government. Like, why did you do this? They say about 2,000, they say about 5 million. Last is only 50,000.
So of the U.S. President Joe Biden, and he said, according to the U.S. Foreign policy, the U.S. comes first. So it is we first. I mean, you make sure that Nigerians are doing absolutely well.
But I think we are Africa first.
Yeah, we know, but this is Nigerians suffering the brunt of the hike in the fuel price. So let's come first this time around. Let's ensure that we are satisfied.
We just believe that our president will put Nigerian first before Africa, because the way the things are going is, it seems, I mean, Africa is still right in front, and then
there's a particular issue when it comes to this one. Like I said, Biden says it has to be, whatever we are doing, we ensure that the Americans enjoy first, the Americans benefits first. This fuel subsidy Nigerians are suffering first. So I think Nigerians should come first, and every other responsibility is only secondary. I mean, you are there for the people. That is why it's called democracy. It's governments for the people. And if you are in power as an elected leader and the people cannot even feel the dividends of democracy, then it means that there is a question mark. Well, let's wait on Mr. President. The only thing I feel that gives me so much succor is the fact that he listened to the cry of people when he brought about the 8,000 naira, and people were like, what is 8,000 naira going to do right now? And he said, okay,
and he's thinking of another thing to do.
Right, let's review it. But we just hope that the review process is going to come swiftly, and Nigerians are going to benefit from the palliatives judiciously.
But again, it would be bad that when they take all this time waiting, I mean, Nigerians waiting patiently, at the end of the day, it will not see a result.
No, we don't want to even consider that. We don't want to go there. I mean, No, 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 no. Like you always say, not our president.
Not our president, though.
No, no, no. We don't
believe
want to,
our president is
like the TUC
calculative
president said, if this is not, Lagos State government has not come out to openly tell us that they had in their custody 103 bodies of NSAS victims. And secondly, they should also carry out an investigation, carry out an autopsy, and tell Nigerians a DNA, and tell Nigerians the identities of these victims. But like I said, if you recall, the Lagos State government in their defense said that in the same 2020 November precisely, they had two publications calling for people to come identify those corpses. Now nobody identified, nobody came through to identify those corpses.
It for again, of what use? Why are we going ahead to spend money for things that naturally are not supposed to be? It seems Nigerians are fond of let me just put Nigerians, because we're all part of this. We are
with the call from Amnesty International. The Lagos State government has its integrity at stake. First, you debunked the news that people died as a result of the NSAS. You claimed that they were photoshopped, and we believed you because, I mean, you are our leaders. You are more like the newsmaker. We take what you say and we take it that way, and then the next we are coming to find out secret documents containing details of proposed mass burial for the 103 NSAS 2020 victims. So October 2020 victims. Now it shows that the Lagos State government needs to address certain pertinent issues. The Lagos State government needs to come out clear and let the world, because it's more like the eyes of the entire. The activist lawyer said, my concern amount is too high or too low, otherwise everything you're saying will just amount to wanting to talk. Now let's talk about it. And in line with the defense by the governor's media aide, would say that doesn't know the contract, doesn't know the value of commodities right now. I really can't say exactly. I haven't been where they're conducting a mass burial, so I cannot say. But from what I've heard most times, okay, let's take a cue from the Owo Church attack, where a number of persons were killed in that attack, and they had a mass burial. We saw them in caskets. So if we go by that, let's just take a little let's take our mind back to the economic realities. We know that things are no longer the way they used to be. The cost of commodities, I'm not trying to make excuses, I'm only trying to say maybe that is why the price the figures go to that extent. Maybe the cost of having caskets for 103 people, the services of the funeral, of course, the morgue, the services of the morgue, the funeral service providers, and all of the other, according to him, nitty-gritties that accompany that contract. So that might have, I mean, he said Lagos is a very responsible government.
Exactly.
Did you not spend that much?
We know that Lagos State is a very responsible government. That's why they have to come out and protect their image and answer these questions.
For the state government to give us a breakdown of how that 61 million came about.
Exactly,
so we know exactly, because I think I would want to,
you are a leader,
things,
right?
Like, right? It shows accountability, and it's going to douse the tension. Nigerians are going to see reasons to believe that, well, Governor Babajide Sanwo will lose administration. Like I said, your integrity is at stake. You have to do what you have to do. I also understand that you want to do some image making and all of that, but this is a very delicate time. This is a very sensitive time where a whole lot of attention is on what is going on. I mean, this issue was on the international scene. It trended for days on the international scene, what exactly happened in Nigeria. And if we, at this point, are still going back and forth as to, like the lawyer said, I'm not bothered about the number of people, because we sure knew that people died as a result of that, even though the government never owned up. But right now, this has justified their claims.
I mean, this was the first mistake they made by even putting slash. NSAS. That was the biggest mistake.
It's not a mistake because
You know
that
what I'm saying?
information
You know
was
what I'm
not
saying?
meant to get to public
No,
domain.
you know what I'm saying? It was a mistake. Whether it was, see, if you're working in this kind of office that is so sensitive, you should be very, very careful. Because if it was not written down in the first place, it wouldn't have come out.
But for how long can you hide the
But
truth?
again, what I'm saying that this was the biggest mistake. Nobody owned up that. I mean, I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about the government never owned up that somebody died in. I mean, during.
Of course, they said nobody
Do you
died.
get? But now we are coming up with something. If I don't spill out something, if I don't write something, you can know anything. I don't spill out something. If I don't write something, you can know anything about me until whatever thing I tell is what you will know. If I don't keep anything out there,
you know, they say the truth would definitely come out.
it will come out.
You can't. Nothing is hidden under the
So
sun,
let
so
them,
you can't keep it
let them
forever.
just come and clear everything because this is something. I mean, the question is much. They need to answer.